So my name's Valerie Scott. I'm a science teacher. I think once a student becomes used to being in school and following the routine and actually starting to learn different content areas, I think testing is fine. Now if they're too young, like kindergarten or first grade, they're still learning the routine, still learning that they gotta go to school, they gotta get ready, how to wash their hands. Then I think people might have a little bit of hesitancy in giving them standardized tests. I think there should be testing just because we need to know where we are. Students need to know where they are. I think a lot of times they get used to being in school all the time and then they just think that they just need to show up. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately the people who don't show up usually have the higher scores. But I think that population is very small. But I think testing is okay. I don't know of any arguments against it. Maybe over testing, but testing in general is a good idea. If we had the ideal community, I think it could go very smoothly. But of course, we don't have as many of the resources that we would like. Computers, computer time, computer access, internet access, website access, those are all speed bumps and hindrances in making it a smooth process. And I think a lot of times people get frustrated with all of those different challenges, and so then testing for them becomes a really huge issue and becomes a situation instead of it being focused on the student and student aptitude. It's more focused on what we don't have, lack of resources, technology issues, that type of thing. I think it affects everyone. Everyone from family members, if they're close-knit and supportive of their student, families that are aware of testing, they undergo a certain amount of stress, especially because I think testing in general has always had like a bad sort of stigma, and so when students are going to be tested, parents get nervous, families get nervous, siblings get upset, and I don't know if it's an outright on the surface thing, but I know that some families undergo that stress. And then of course the student, teachers, everyone in the school is affected in some way or another. If we're not directly testing, we're affected by it. Either students are gone from our class, we have overlapping time, they haven't eaten lunch, and so we have to take time from our class to make sure that they eat properly or have enough time to take breaks. There's an effect in the entire community. I think that first and foremost we need to have the resources to make sure that everyone has a nice, smooth testing experience. I know that from testing in my class, we have issues where students can't log on. People have a hard time receiving Wi-Fi signals in my classroom in particular, and then also if a student is able to log on, there's different issues like technology-wise. And then when they finally get to their test, they've already experienced a certain level of stress and like overstress, especially if the rest of their peers are able to log on smoothly, they're able to get into the websites, then they themselves get frustrated, then they stop. To make that better, I'd say we probably need more time. More time just to get the kids ready in the morning, like just maybe a 30-minute technology amount of time, which I know is a lot when you think about our day. A half an hour is a long time, but if we're servicing like 300, 400 students at a time, that's like a minute every 10 people. So, and that's just to help with the issues and stuff. I think to make other things better in the future, we have to make sure that students know that attendance is a really big issue. not only during the regular school days, but on testing days. I know that we have testing Monday through Thursday, and then Friday is dedicated strictly to makeups. And so a lot of kids miss during the week. And if they miss one day, on Friday, they're stuck in testing all day instead of just 1 or 2 sessions. I think there's always a certain amount of anxiety when you think about the future. We can look at it in 2 ways. Yes, it's difficult and it's hard and challenging to know that today's young people truly have not dealt with hardships of life. And if something were to happen, that would make them have to revert back to just basic survival skills and how to take care of each other and how to be compassionate for one another and working hard, and that makes me anxious. But on the other hand, the things that we have done just in my lifespan, going from a monochromatic computer screen to wireless mouse to flat screen TVs, like just the amount of technology that has grown in the past 20 years, it's amazing. I mean, no one heard of cell phones 20 years ago, and the people who did had to carry around a suitcase to hold everything, all the components in it. So it's both anxiety filled and exciting, because I think we have a lot of technology, we have a lot of smart, creative kids who are able to do a lot of things. And back, when people had a lot less experience, didn't have Google, didn't have the internet at their fingertips, it was really hard to research different things and come up with new ideas to solve problems. But now kids have YouTube, and they can Google anything, they can look anything up on the internet. Information is so readily available that really no one with that technology access has any boundaries. And so there's a lot of things that they can do with that. Different inventions, different uses for technology. I mean, we have competitions for apps and everything, and that stuff is exciting. So I think that hopefully we'll be able to compensate technology-wise for other stuff.